Hi boys and girls, I'm back. I wanted to share this poster with you on quadrilaterals because I want to make sure that you understand what a quadrilateral is. So I'm going to first go over the squares. So, it's kind of windy out here. Let's make sure I don't lose all the stuff that I want. Starting with the square, my friends, it says a square has 4 equal sides and 4 angles. Here's an example. This is a square and this is a square as well. Remember, I showed you that in a book that I read to you about a father and daughter going to a baseball game and they looked at the baseball diamond. Yes, but it's really also a square. So you have 4 equal sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 4 right angles inside each. Squares are easy. Moving on. Rectangle. A rectangle is also a quadrilateral. Again, 4 right angles and opposite sides are equal. So here you have a square. We said a square is also a rectangle, but here you have an actual rectangle where this side and this side have equal lengths, okay? And then this side and this side have equal lengths. So opposite sides are equal to each other, but a rectangle can make 4 right angles. Now, the next one, I haven't really used this word because I was just going over some of the other ones, but parallelogram. Notice the first part of this word is parallel, and we know what parallel means. When 2 lines never meet, they never cross, they never touch, okay? They just have the same lengths moving in the same direction and they're at the same distance apart from each other. So here are some examples of parallelograms. 2 pairs of opposite parallel lines. So you've got a square again. Here's a parallelogram or a quadrilateral. It's called both. Here's another parallelogram, a diamond shape. Here is a rectangle. So 2 pairs of lines that are opposite. So these 2 lines are parallel to each other, and these 2 lines are parallel to each other. They're never going to cross, they're never going to touch, and they're the same distance apart from each other. You can say that for all of them. These 2 are always going to be parallel, and these 2 lines are always going to be parallel to each other. These 2 lines are always going to be parallel to each other, and this top and bottom line are always going to be parallel to each other. And then with the kite, these 2 lines, oops, I did that wrong. These 2 lines are parallel to each other, this line and this line, and these 2 lines, this line and this line, are always going to be parallel to each other. They're never going to cross, they're never going to touch. So they are also called parallelograms. All right. Last one on this side of the paper, rhombus. A rhombus is 4 equal sides. Opposite angles are equal. So again, 4-sided figures, because they're all quadrilaterals. All the sides are equal to each other, but opposite angles are equal. So let me just show you if I zoom in here a little bit for the rhombus. Here I've got this one and this one. Those are acute angles, okay? So those 2 angles are opposite from each other and they're equal. Then I've got this angle and this angle, which is obtuse. Those 2 angles are opposite from each other and they are equal. That's a rhombus. And then you could say it again here. A square is just a rhombus as well because you've got 4 equal sides and the opposite sides are equal. So here I can make a perfect square, and here they're equal to each other, even though they're 4 right angles. These 2 are equal to each other. So that's a rhombus. Really, this is the one you need to look at. Okay, now going to the trapezoid. We know that a trapezoid, let me zoom out here a little bit, oops. Okay, a trapezoid is 1 pair of opposite parallel lines. So this time you only have 1 pair of opposite parallel lines. In this picture, if I zoom in a little bit here, you've got this line and this line that are parallel to each other. They're never going to cross, they're never going to touch, and that's only one pair. These two you can't count, because if this line keeps going on forever in that direction and this one keeps going up in that direction, they're eventually going to touch each other. So for this particular figure, this quadrilateral, you only have one pair of parallel lines. Here's another type of trapezoid. Again, it's only this line and this line that are parallel to each other. They're never going to cross, they're never going to touch. You can't count this one and this one, because if this one keeps going on and this line keeps going on, they're eventually going to touch each other. So again, only one pair of parallel lines. Last one we don't talk that much about, but it is considered a quadrilateral. It's called a kite. And we know what kites are. We make kites, we put them outside, and we let them hang in the sky, right? And they're attached to a string and they move by wind. So this is also a quadrilateral. It says it has two pairs of equal lines adjacent. Adjacent means they're next to each other. So again, you've got, and let me just zoom in a little bit. You've got these two that are equal to each other, and then you've got these two that are equal to each other. So there's your two pairs. This is a pair, and these two are a pair. And then again, this line and this line are adjacent. They're next to each other and they're equal. These two are a pair. This one and this one are a pair. So you have two pairs of equal lines. Okay, just wanted to go over that with you because I want to make sure you understand what quadrilaterals are. So here's my little poster for you today. Now, I'm going into the Go Math, and I want to finish lesson 12.5. So I believe, my friends, we are on page 725. We finished at 724 yesterday. So please look at the top. It says problem solving applications. Hold on one second. Papers keep falling all over the place, so I can't find them, but it says problem solving applications, and at the bottom it says page 725. It says chapter 12, lesson 5. So we're still on 12.5. I did this page, so I'm going to go over it with you. Number 10, it says, well, the directions say use quadrilaterals, use quadrilaterals at the right for problems 10 through 12. So number 10, which quadrilaterals appear to have four right angles? So I've told you B and C. If you look over to the right, they are the only two quadrilaterals that have four right angles. If I look at B, you can make four perfect squares inside. And if you look at C, the rectangle, again, I can make four perfect squares inside. So those two shapes have four right angles. So for number 10, please write B and C. Number 11, which quadrilaterals appear to have two pairs of opposite sides that are parallel? Now I underline that. You need to find two pairs of opposite sides that are parallel. So two pairs of lines that are never going to touch, they're never going to cross. It's B, C, and D. Again, here's B. These two lines are parallel. These two lines are parallel. C, again with the rectangle. These two lines are parallel. These two lines are parallel. Never going to cross, never going to touch. And D. These two lines are parallel. And these, the top and the bottom lines, are parallel. They're never going to cross. They're never going to touch. So for number 11, you should have B, C, and D. Number 12, which quadrilaterals appear to have no right angles? So you're looking for shapes that have, or quadrilaterals that have no right angles. The answer is D, E, and F. Again, If you look at D, you cannot make, and I'll zoom in here a little bit, you cannot make 4 perfect squares in any of those corners. E, you cannot make perfect squares in any of those corners. F, you definitely can't make any perfect squares in those corners. So none of those have right angles. D, you can't have any right angles, or there are none. E, there are no right angles that can be made here. And F, there's no right angles that can be made here. So for number 12, again, you should have D, E, and F. Now, it says write all or some to complete the sentences for 13 through 18. So let me zoom out here a little bit. And I did them for you, but we'll go over them. Number 13 says the opposite sides of all rectangles are parallel. Your answer should be all. Because again, if I look at this rectangle, which is letter C, all of the sides are parallel. We already talked about it. These two will never touch. Top and the bottom lines will never touch. So all rectangles have parallel sides. Number 14, which is across here, it says all sides of rhombuses are the same length. Now, if you don't remember what a rhombus is, we just talked about it. Here are some examples of a rhombus. So they're saying all sides of a rhombus are the same length. Does that look like that's true from these two pictures that show rhombuses? Yeah, all the sides are the same length in that diamond shape and in that square shape. So your answer should be all for number 14. A square is a rhombus because all the sides are the same length. Okay? Number 15. All squares are rectangles. Yes, they are. We've talked about that. Number 16. Some rhombuses are squares. Again, here is the picture of the rhombus. So some rhombuses can be squares because you have a square right there, but not all squares can be rhombuses. All right. Number 17 I didn't fill out, but we'll do it right now. Blank quadrilaterals are polygons. Ooh, yes. All. Because quadrilaterals are closed figures, they're flat, they're two-dimensional, they're not open. So all quadrilaterals are polygons. Number 18. Some polygons are quadrilaterals. Only some polygons are quadrilaterals. Let's think about that. Some polygons, so some closed figures are quadrilaterals. Yeah, that makes sense because some closed figures are not four-sided. Okay. Now look at number 19. It says circle the shape at the right that is not a quadrilateral. So we're looking for something that is not a quadrilateral. So if I go over here, what did I circle? What is this called? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. The rest of them have 4 sides because we know quadrilaterals have 4 sides. That is a pentagon. So that's the one you should have circled. Now, it says explain. We're going to write. Circle the shape that is not a quadrilateral. Explain. This shape is a pentagon. And let me see if I can zoom in a little bit so you can see what I'm writing. Okay, that should be a little bit better. This shape is a pentagon. No, we're going to say this shape is a pentagon. It has 5 sides. All quadrilaterals have 4 sides. Okay, so That's about 3 sentences you need to write there, so I'll pause for a few minutes, or maybe a minute. Please write, this shape is a pentagon. It has 5 sides. All quadrilaterals have 4. So that's why we circled the pentagon, because it's not a quadrilateral. Please copy. So the shape we circled was the pentagon because it has 5 sides, and quadrilaterals only have 4 sides. Okay, pause the video if you need to. I'm just going to keep going at the bottom where it says think smarter. And I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. It's asking you, think smarter. They want you to figure out what polygon this is. I am a polygon that has 4 sides and 4 angles. At least one of my angles is less than a right angle. So one of your angles has to be acute. Circle all the shapes I could be. So if you're 4 sides and 4 angles, you're definitely a quadrilateral. You can't circle rectangle because it says one of my angles is less than a right angle. A rectangle has 4 right angles. I have to pick a shape that would have an acute angle. So you can't circle rectangle. You can't circle square because a square has 4 right angles. You're looking for something that is less than a right angle, which means it's acute. Can you circle rhombus? Yes, you can. Again, if you don't remember, there's your rhombus. A rhombus has acute angles and obtuse, but they don't have any right. So you can circle rhombus. In that case, sometimes they do have right if you're talking about a square, but some rhombuses don't have right angles. So you can circle rhombus. You can also circle trapezoid because one of your angles has to be at least a right angle. If I look at trapezoid right here, this has a right angle here and here, but these two aren't. And there are no right angles in any of those corners. So trapezoid, sorry, it's a little breezy out here, which feels great. Trapezoid can be circled as well. So you should have only circled quadrilateral, rhombus, and trapezoid. You can have 4 sides and 4 angles. That's what makes you a quadrilateral, and it says it up here. But you have to have at least one angle that's acute. Rhombuses do have acute angles. Trapezoids have acute angles. Okay, I'm moving on because it's already at 18 minutes and I don't want to take too long with you today. All right, 21. It says think smarter again. Identify the quadrilateral that can have 2 pairs of parallel sides and no right angles. Well, if it has no right angles, you definitely can't circle square because squares have right angles. You definitely can't fill in C for rectangle because rectangles have right angles. The only one you can circle is a rhombus. And again, here's a rhombus. Now they give you an example of a square as a rhombus, but then they also show you another kind of rhombus that doesn't have right angles. And because rhombus was one of your choices, that's the only one you can circle. All right, it says connect to reading. Now we're going to go down here and do these, and then we'll be done. It says compare and contrast. When you compare, you look for ways that things are alike. When you contrast, you look for ways that things are different. Mr. Briggs drew some shapes on the board. He asked the class to tell how the shapes are alike and how they are different. Wow, there's a lot of shapes here. I see a trapezoid, a pentagon, kind of like a half oval shape, a circle. This is definitely a parallelogram. Square. This is also a parallelogram. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a pentagon, 5-sided figure, a triangle, and another oval. So we're going to use those shapes to answer these questions. Now, I already filled these in, but I'm going to go over them with you. Complete the sentences. It says, shape, please fill in A, B, E, F, G, H, and I are polygons. Yes, they are. You better not have put D, because that's a circle. A circle can't be a polygon because it has no straight sides. You cannot pick C. This is a half of an oval shape, but it has curves, so you can't pick that. You can't pick J. It's an oval. Sorry. You can't pick J because it's an oval shape. It has curves. So you can only pick the ones that have sides. So, moving on to bullet number 2. Shapes C, D, and J are not polygons, and I just went over that. C is not a polygon, D is not a polygon, and J is not a polygon. Those are not polygons because they have curved paths. They don't have sides. Yes, C has one side, but every part of the shape has to have sides in order for it to be a polygon. Third bullet. Shapes A, E, F, and G are quadrilaterals. Well, we know quad means 4, so let's go up and see. Shape A, yep, 4-sided, it's a quadrilateral. E, 4-sided, it's a quadrilateral. F, 4-sided, it's a quadrilateral. G, 4-sided, it's a quadrilateral. So for that third bullet down, you should have A, E, F, and G. They are all quadrilaterals. Bullet 4. A, B, and I appear to have only one pair of opposite sides that are parallel. Oh boy. So A, yep, this one and this one are parallel. B, this one and this one are parallel. I, scooch it over a little bit. This one and this one are parallel. So, makes sense to me. So we're on bullet 4, A, B, I. Next bullet, shapes E, F, and G appear to have 2 pairs of opposite sides that are parallel. Let's see if that's right. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. Now, again, boys and girls, I am on bullet 5. E, yes, they have 2 pairs that are opposite and they're parallel. F, you have 2 pairs of opposite sides that are parallel. G, this side and this side is parallel. This side and this side is parallel. And that's it. So E, F, and G have 2 pairs of parallel sides. Okay. All 4 sides of shapes E and F appear to be the same length. Okay, let's go to E and F. E and F have the same length. Yep, same length on every side, same length on every side. All right, so make sure you have that. And we are on bullet what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bullet 6. Bullet 7. In these polygons, all the sides do not appear to be the same. Please write A, B, G, H, and I. I'm just going to quickly go through this because I'm almost at 24 minutes and I want to get this lesson done because I know it's hard to watch all of this for 20 minutes since we're not in a classroom. So copy and then you can go back and look at that. The next bullet, these shapes can be called rhombuses. Remember, rhombuses have 4 sides and opposite angles that are equal, E and F. And the next bullet, it says shapes A and G are quadrilaterals, but cannot be called rhombuses. Ooh, A and G. Okay, they can't be called rhombuses. Okay, and then the last one, F. Shape F is a rhombus and can be called a square, and I showed you that on the poster. A square can be called a rhombus. So look those over, talk them over with your parents. Again, I showed you this poster. You could pause this poster and go back to it in the video to go over the different types of quadrilaterals there are. All right, I'm stopping there. We are done. Again, you saw my first video. I only had 2 people as of this morning who started the iReady diagnostic test. Math, Raneem finished it, Safe was working on it. Reading, Ibrahim was working on it, so was Safe. That's only 2 people out of 21 students I have in my room. The rest of you, if you have the ability to get online and do it, you have to do it. I will be making some phone calls and talking to you on Remind. Thank you for listening. Bye, guys.